Hi guys, it's Debbie from healingfrombpd.org, and I'm making a video for a couple of things that I wanted to talk about with you guys. And the first one is kind of tied into the second. And it's a question that was on my friend Claire's new blog, asking if you could turn off your borderline personality disorder with a button like that, and you'd no longer have BPD, would you do it? So I'll put the link to her poll below. You don't have to register or anything like that. You just click yes or no. But yeah, so I think initially what a lot of us would respond with, including myself, is yes, if I could just turn this crap off with a button, I would be doing it in like a split second. We know that's not realistic, obviously, but it's more like, would you if you could, if it was possible? Just kind of like thinking about it. And I think it's a great question because it gets you thinking about the condition that you have and how it affects your life, both in the negative and positive. And what I mean by that is, do I wish I could sometimes just go like this and turn off the suffering, turn off the mood swings, turn off how intense it gets sometimes with the emotions? Heck yeah. Oh yes, I do. Especially more so when I was pre-diagnosed, didn't even know what was going on, and when I got diagnosed, I wished that I had a quick escape route so badly that it's not even funny, because it was just so distressing and intolerable to cope with the way, the symptomology that was coming up for me as a person with BPD. However, many of you know over the past couple of years and still continuing, I've been going to DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy, and it's a very effective treatment for people with BPD. And I have learned to not necessarily be able to just click a button, but maybe a series of buttons through different exercises, through different practices, through different ways of thinking and going about things, to improve my experience. So that I would say that DBT would be the closest thing to having some type of control over all of the experiences that tend to flood someone who is emotionally dysregulated. So for me, I think about a lot of things that I went through in my life, and I ask myself, would I go back and erase it or rewind it if I could? You would think probably I would say, yeah, I wish I could go back and just not have had that happen, not have had that happen. There's probably a small part in me that does wish that that could be, or that would go with it, and it's probably my inner child. She's the one that had to go through most of that stuff after all, as I'm sure many of you can relate. But the adult part of me, the wise mind, I have tools now to help to handle it, but for the most part, these skills have given me so much in terms of being able to draw upon something that I know works because I gave it a chance and consistently have seen positive results. So in terms of whether or not I would turn it off, maybe if I could turn it off now I would, but I wouldn't go back and rewind and take away all of the experiences that I've had over the years as someone with BPD, because I'm choosing to take that and think of myself as I'm just one person, right? I am significant, but when you think of it, I'm one person who has experienced a lot of suffering because of this diagnosis and having these experiences. But through a willingness to make sense out of it all and create meaning out of it all, you know, through the blogs, through these videos, and now through another project I'm going to tell you guys about, which is the part 2, I'm helping a lot of people, even as a peer, even as someone who doesn't have all of those credentials and everything, through my writing, through my sharing of my experience, through being honest and open and genuine. I have reached a lot of people. I mean, I get a lot of really positive feedback, and it's been very powerful. And I think to myself, if I hadn't had all of those experiences, and then of course the component of the willingness to share it and try to use it for the good, then all of this stuff, all this positivity that I've been generating and putting out there and receiving feedback that it gives people hope and makes them feel less alone, it makes them feel like someone understands, that wouldn't be there. So I feel like, okay, I had to go through that to get to this place, And now, because of that suffering that has really just gotten lessened over time, I'm able to help a lot of other suffering people to suffer less, to learn from my mistakes, to learn as I'm learning. So yeah, I wouldn't go back and turn, whenever this started to develop in my psyche or whatever, I wouldn't just go and do this, no, because something beautiful has come out of it eventually. And so one of the things I've been thinking about as I am getting ready to go back to school and do my master's, I really think when I was in grade school, if we had had these skills, how would my life have been different? If I had learned distress tolerance, emotion regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, and mindfulness at age 10, when there was bullying going on, and as I got older, as I had to deal with a terminally ill parent, or, you know, dealing with the distress of going from foster home to foster home, how would my life be different? And then I think about kids today at that age. If they were getting skills like this and being validated, and their parents were being taught how to validate, and the children were learning how to connect with each other and how to handle feelings and emotions that come up, how would this world be changed and be different? I basically reached out to a supervisor of a supervisor from a previous job where I actually worked in social work for a year and a half. And this was pre-diagnosis and pre-treatment, so I pretty much fell apart and had a bit of a nervous breakdown, to be honest with you, towards the end of the job, because I was helping families with kids who were at risk for child abuse and neglect. And some of the stories and issues that were coming up, not just from the kids but also the parents, were so much for me, and I had no vocabulary really to describe what I was going through. And as a person with BPD, I didn't even know I had BPD yet, but I would just go into crisis, and I would like just, you know, go to the emergency room and this, that, and the other thing. And before you knew it, I wasn't at that job anymore. But now all this time has passed, and I've been doing DBT, and I don't want to go back to that same specific kind of work. I don't think that's right for me. But I reached out to her because she is a PhD level clinician, and she is a CEO at a nonprofit. She moved up in the ranks over the years, and basically I told her my idea about wanting to modify the skills for elementary school children, and I'm going to talk to her and get some feedback, sort of like a mentor type thing, an informational meeting. She supervises a lot of programs that work with children, so I kind of want to get her feedback and maybe a little guidance. I'm ready to learn. I'm excited, and that meeting's tomorrow. I'm a little anxious just because I haven't been back to that work site since I left, and everyone kind of knew what, you know, that I had had mental health problems, and they didn't know like exactly what had happened or whatever, but like I'm sure it freaked a few people out. But it's been years, so hopefully it's going to be fine. I just need to get myself there and have that meeting and get more information. So, and I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. And yes, so let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you push a button if you could stop the DBT? If you could stop the borderline personality disorder, rather, would you rewind and erase it ever starting? Let me know your thoughts below. Maybe you want to take Claire's poll as well. And then I'd love any thoughts that you have also on bringing DBT to children. And thank you for watching. Bye.